Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I wanted to say thank you to the entire panel for being here today. Appreciate hearing your perspectives. Reducing emissions, carbon emissions, is a shared goal. However, I believe that we must be realistic and we must be honest about the challenges that we face. We need a strategy that provides consumer choice, ensures affordability, and maintains grid reliability and capacity. Clearly, the United States is a large country. It's diverse, and coming from different regions, different states, you find that there's different strengths and needs. A top-down government-mandated approach is not going to be workable. For some states, nuclear is the best option. For others, it's wind, solar, or natural gas. Others, it's hydropower. I'm excited about the technological innovation and the American ingenuity that enables us to develop a variety of new cutting-edge ways of clean energy production. I'm proud that America is leading the world in reducing carbon emissions. Eastern Washington is a leader in clean energy solutions. Hydropower built the Pacific Northwest. It built our economy, and it continues to provide clean, renewable, reliable electricity. In fact, we are number one. We have the lowest electricity cost in the country. It accounts for 70% of the energy in Washington state. And as we all know, it is the largest source of renewable energy in the country. We could double hydropower in America without building a new dam, simply by investing in technology. However, right now in America, it takes 10 years to license a new hydropower project. You compare that to 18 months for a natural gas facility. We can and we should do better. Washington state is known as being a leader in wanting to bring down and reduce carbon emissions. Just in January, though, there was an article in the Seattle Times that was highlighting that carbon emissions are actually up. In Washington state over a decade ago, we wrote a plan into law to reduce carbon gas emissions to 1990 levels by 2020. But the latest tally of states' emissions show that we're trending in the wrong direction to meet that target, and that more emission goals are ahead of us. In fact, the legislature has continued to increase those carbon emission goals. The fact, though, is from 2012 to 2015, our carbon emissions spiked 6.1%, due in part to increasing fossil fuel-generated electricity. So, at a time when we have this shared goal, we should be embracing what makes sense in each region of the country. And for us, it's hydropower. We shouldn't be putting more costs and more mandates on hydropower. We should be actually moving forward with licensing reform here at the federal level in Congress. And you know that I've worked on this, and I encourage the majority in their goal to move legislation to, I urge you to take action to address the licensing of hydropower projects in this country. Without it, I'm not sure there's a realistic path to success. So I wanted to ask Mr. Matheson, and I too want to welcome you back to the committee and appreciate your service and your continued leadership. I want you to expand on the role of hydropower in terms of grid reliability, capacity. How does it compare to other forms of renewable electricity?
Well, you stated the case well, and it matters a lot. Pacific Northwest, of course, is where it's so important, but I got to tell you, we've got over 600 electric cooperatives in the country that get hydro from power market agencies, federal power market agencies in 34 states. So this issue translates across a lot of the country, maybe not quite to the proportion it is in the Pacific Northwest, but by members in that part of the country, it's a significant part of their power supply. The low rates are an important part of how they provide affordable power, and it's extremely reliable. It's interesting, you mentioned the history that it built Washington, and it's such a significant part of the history of the Northwest, and yet here we are today talking about moving into more of a carbon-constrained future. It's just another value adder for the hydro assets, quite candidly. And it seems to me that I would concur with your statement that any discussion about moving ahead for federal policy to enact a more carbon-constrained future, that the consideration of how we can best enhance our hydroelectric generating capacity ought to be right at the top of the list, because it's there.
Thank you.
Technology's there,
I
it's easy.
appreciate you making that point, because hydropower, we have new technology, and it isn't just Washington State. It's all over the country, 34 states, and there's potential to double it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.